Ciao tutti! I am so excited for you to join me on this journey of gratitude stories, where I gather stories of others who have had gratitude expressed face to face, how it's made a difference in their life. You can make a difference every single day expressing gratitude. Join me on this journey. Don't wait to express gratitude today.
Ciao a tutti, it's me, KP Speaks, and this morning I have Lib Montoya with me. I was introduced to Lib when I was searching for podcasts to help me spread the word about gratitude, and when I approached Lib with the request to be on Ticked podcast, he was like, wait a second, I don't really do that too much anymore. Go to my friend Ben, and he hooked me up. It was so nice of him. But afterwards, I started learning a little bit about Lib and that he was a cancer survivor and he has a wonderful family. And I thought, what better person than to ask him about how gratitude serves him in his life. Lib, will you tell us a little bit about you, what you do for your profession? And yeah, let's start with that.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me on, and I hope you had a great experience on Ticked. I'm still following it closely. Yeah, a little bit about myself. So my family comes from Mexico. I was born and raised here in the U.S., though, raised in Arizona. I now live in Utah. I'm currently an art director for a marketing agency here in Draper, Utah. And what that means basically is I work on everything creative, from graphic design to video to audio production, photography, anything creative, you name it. That's kind of what we do here. And that's my bread and butter.
That is so fun. I think there's such a need for someone like you to be able to just, if you're creative and also professional, and they can, with a company that they can just trust you to go with it. I think that's absolutely amazing. And so how did you get into being an art director?
Well, a lot of different little choices in life that brought me here, but I studied at the University of Utah. I got a mass communication degree, and there it's very broad degree. And so it was my senior year in college, and I was about to graduate, and I was never the best student in school, and so I always waited to the last minute to do everything. So it's my last semester, and I was trying to figure out, whoa, I'm almost done with school. What am I supposed to do with my life? The next thing, I'm supposed to have this all figured out. And it took me, 3.5 years, 4 years to figure it out. But I kind of started reflecting at that moment in my life and started thinking about what I enjoyed, but also what could I do professionally, and the balance of finding the enjoyment and fulfillment in my career, but also having a career where I can make ends meet. And I fell into graphic design, and I wasn't professionally trained on it. It wasn't necessarily something I studied directly in school. And so I started teaching myself a little bit, and I had experience throughout other classes where I did photography, or I did journalism, or I did a little bit of writing, a little bit of video production. So I became a bit of a Swiss Army knife, some formal education, some self-taught.
I think that is super cool because most people don't get the opportunity to do what they love and be creative and make money at it.
Yeah, it's the best of all worlds.
Yeah, and it brings a lot of joy. I find that when you're doing what you're passionate about, you're able to really put yourself in there, and then you go home with this feeling of satisfaction. And I think if you can do that, then you're really able to, go home and be involved in what you're doing at home as well. So with when I read about that you were a cancer survivor, what is that about? Like, tell me about it.
Yeah, so being diagnosed with cancer was a really interesting experience. It was actually soccer, I would say, that saved my life, because I was playing soccer with some of my friends, and I got a ball kicked in my groin area, which happens in sports. But so let me go back a little bit. I was diagnosed with testicular cancer. And so what happens, and I hope it's okay that I share this, but with the cancer, one of your testicles starts swelling and a cancerous mass grows. And so I thought initially that it was all from this hit and that it was a bad hit from the soccer ball. And then eventually I went to the doctor because I was worried about this hit. And after some testings, they found the cancer and I was diagnosed with cancer. So obviously that was a big, big shock in my life. But I was blessed that something weird like a soccer ball hitting me happened so I could notice it and then eventually make it to the doctor. And we found it early and it was removed, and I'm 4 years in remission now. So I'm doing great.
That is miraculous. That's amazing. So through that process, I mean, I personally have epilepsy, and sometimes people describe it as the monster in your head, which I don't, but something that is like your body is turned against you in a way. Did you go through any type of remorse or grief or anger or anything when you were going through that process?
I tend to be a bit of a naive person in big life-changing events, whether it was, me moving from Arizona to Utah or even getting married. I kind of just go with my gut instinct a lot. And so with the whole cancer, there was some grief. There was some unknowns and the fear of the unknown. But I was blessed to have full trust and full faith in the medical professionals and knowing what they were doing and that they had their best interest in me. So I don't know. I think that's just a personality trait that I have where I can kind of push things out a little bit and just not worry so much about things, I guess.
I think a lot of people are feeling a little bit jealous right now because a lot of people get caught in their heads and can't get out. So I'd love to know what role gratitude has had in your own life.
It's when I first started thinking about this question, I think the basic things popped into my head, or I'm grateful for the job that I have and the work I'm able to do. And like you mentioned earlier, the fact that I can do something that I'm passionate about, that I truly enjoy and make a living out of it. And, the families, the friends, my wife, things like that, I'm definitely grateful for. But as I started to think about it a little bit more and more, I kept going back to, I'm grateful for my ancestors. I'm grateful for my parents and the generations before me and everything they've done. And that goes beyond just family too. That goes from, I don't come from a family of military background, but from war veterans to social activists to just anyone that has done something in their life to make my life better. And I'm eternally grateful for that. I think most people don't think about it, but it makes such a huge impact. And for, everyone doing little actions add up to changing someone's life. And that's how I feel. I
am so grateful that you shared that, because I mean, every single day when we do just some type of, even when we don't even think of it as an act of kindness, but when we are just being us and being authentic and contributing to somebody's life, we're making a huge ripple effect. In fact, yesterday I presented to WIC employees, and I asked them, is there anybody who has expressed gratitude or has made a difference in your life? And one of them mentioned their manager, who daily goes around and just says, "How are you doing today?" And literally she goes to almost every employee. And I asked them, who here has been affected by Linda? And everybody raised their hand. And there was like this whole moment where everyone just was like completely connected. But that affects them at work, but then when they go home, and then when they go home, they affect their children or their spouse or whoever, and then it continues on. And like you said, your ancestors, those sacrifices, everything that they did, they had no idea that who Lib would be, what he would be doing, but everything that they did affected your parents or affected the parents before them, and it continues on. It's generational and continues on. Yeah. I really, really love what you just shared with us. Yeah. So have you ever had anybody at work express gratitude to you face to face, and has it impacted you at all?
Yeah, I mean, I can, off the top of my head, I can think of several times where that's happened, and I think it's just personally a good feeling, whether it's, I don't know, being thanked for a project that I worked on and that, succeeded, or that a client just loved, and hearing that feedback from a client, or, um, my manager right now, our creative director here at work, he's really good. I'm kind of his right-hand man right now. And so every once in a while I got to take on some responsibility that maybe it's not on my job description, but he always is thankful and shows the gratitude for the help that I'm lending to him. It makes me just want to do it more. It gives you that little bit of a high, in a good way, to just keep doing what you're doing, and keep helping others and being selfless.
How does it affect you when you go home?
Well, I think it's pretty normal where every day I go home and I talk to my wife about, the day at work and the stresses and the frustrations, but also the good things. And so I think I can always refresh that feeling I had when I tell her about, what I did. And she's always very grateful that, that I'm the person that I am, that I'm doing the things that I'm doing. And then I can see how I'm making her happy by doing that. So it's this cycle where I keep doing it for selfish reasons, but then also for selfless reasons. And it just goes back and forth.
Yeah. So my last question for you is, if you could have anybody in this universe in front of you, and be able to thank them for something, who would it be? And act as if they were right in front of you. What would you say to them?
Oh man, that's a tough one. Going back to my answer about ancestors, I think I would thank my great grandfather. His name's Raphael Monroy, and he was a martyr for his religious beliefs. And so I would just want to say that I'm grateful for what you did, for the life that you lived, for the children you raised and that you taught, and that have affected their lives, and hundreds of people that are your family members, and how that, maybe not daily, but weekly, I think about that example and the type of impact that I want to have on my children and my grandchildren, and so forth.
Thank you, Lib. I am so grateful for you taking this time to share and to be authentic and to spread goodness in this world. And if anyone wants to get a hold of you or contact you, connect with you, how do they do that?
Yeah, so I would say social media is probably the easiest way. All my handles are at Lib Montoya. That's LIBMONTOYA. Whether it's Twitter or Instagram or LinkedIn, anything like that, I'm reach out. I would be more than happy to talk to you about whether it's sports or it's, creative work or it's professional work, anything. I'm an open door.
Awesome. You should hear some of his podcasts with Ben. They're pretty hilarious. Well, thank you so much. And I hope you have a fabulous day. And don't forget, you guys, that it's never too late to express gratitude. Even if it's been 4 years since somebody did something for you, everybody loves to be thanked. Have a fabulous day.